Welcome to Rabat, the vibrant capital of Morocco, where tradition and modernity meet. Centuries-old Medinas telling stories of culture and color. The city proudly showcasing its history through the landmarks of the Hassan Tower and the Grand Theatre, overlooking this incredible showground, proudly hosting the only African stage in the Global Champions League. And here at this point, as we enter stage 15 of the 2025 season, we have two teams locked on level points as Falcons White United and the Kun Stars, powered by the Iron Dames, both jointly find themselves on 277 points after 14 intensely competed stages around the world. It's no surprise that we start today's show with the two championship contending teams, as Oliver Lazarus from Falcons White United and Jana Frederica Meyer-Zimmermann from the Kun Stars, powered by the Iron Dames, join us in the studio. Ladies, gentlemen, please, your microphones. Ollie, this is a rather unique position to find oneself in this late in the season. Talk to me about the joy and the agony, the thoughts and emotion of coming to a late stage like this, level on points. It's quite unique in the world of sport.
I think I have probably the best seat in the show jumping world at the moment. I've done very little for the team and we're leading the league. So
you're the kid that did not do his homework but will take the grade at the end of the day.
I'm always the kid that doesn't do his homework. Yep. No, but very happy to be honoured and looking forward to this weekend. Conrad feels good. He had a good trip out in Riesenbeck, was my last show. He feels like I'm sort of having a pick up in results and form again the second half. We had a bit of a dip sort of midsummer. But I'm confident, I feel good, and I'm going to just try and enjoy the weekend.
Jana, this is not a new position for the Kun Stars, because last year with Riesenbeck International, it was also a very late championship run. The team has been here before. They have been in this position. Tell me what you can take from last year, because that's kind of the path that I imagine Kun Stars want to try and replicate.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have to say last year was even more comfortable because we went here and I think we only had to finish kind of the first round and then it was clear we won the championship. Mm-hmm. So that was very special. This time it's still about getting points, saving points. And for me, I have my upcoming horses. So also this year was a bit like we brought some superstar riders, superstar horses, but we also took the chance once in a while to bring up younger, high-talented riders and also high-talented horses. And I think it's about the balance. But, yeah, we want to be good here.
She makes a good point, though, because last year, Kun Stars ran away with things for most part of the season. To be fair, though, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this, Falcons were seemingly running away with things. I think a 14-point overhaul just last stage in Rome. Is there a bit of feeling the pressure here? Is there some heat that's being turned up? Because you too would have loved to have come here, finish inside the top 10 and wrap it up. They are making life very uncomfortable for you.
I would have loved to top 10 and finish it off here. I could have relaxed, cruise around, sort of backseat drive, but no. But there's always a little bit of pressure. That's the beauty of the team format and the global tour. Every point counts. But we try not to focus too much on other teams, focus on our horses, focus on our job, and let's see what happens.
Jana, last year you competed here. Oliver Lab wasn't jumping here last year. Do you have memories of last year? I think there was a top 10 finish, maybe. I think Falcons White was 6th and you were 8th, so it may have been vice versa, but it wasn't a great end to the stage. What do you remember of jumping here in Rabat last year?
I mean, for me personally, it was a great end because I was also placed in the Grand Prix with Messi and was third in the individual, so it was beautiful. And then we had a very nice team celebration here. Yeah, nearly the whole team were here, so it was beautiful. Also, I have to say the whole facility, the ground, everything for the horses is really good organized. So I'm happy to be here again. But yeah, of course, like Ollie said, now it's focus on the horses, focus on the course, how it is. You don't know it before. Is it an easy one? Is it a tough one? So I already have one eye over there.
As a team name, only the London Knights have ever won back-to-back titles. Has that been conversation amongst the team this year of retaining the crown that you won in 2024? Has that been part of the team discussion to return in 2025 and try repeat that?
I mean, of course, we don't want to be a one-hit wonder. So
I think you are very far away from a one-hit wonder. But yes, you are telling the point. Yeah.
Of course, we want to have a podium, and being on top of the podium would would be the yeah. I don't want to say the goal, but the truth is, of course, it's the goal, and still it's a step to do. But I think we have a good chance.
Rightly so, Oliver. There's no team that's more decorated in the GCL than Falcons United. It is the most decorated team as far as podiums and wins is concerned. Also looking to become the first ever 3-time champions. What's the messaging been like with the team from Jan this past week? What has it been like coming up to Rabat?
You know, Jan he's pretty great team owner in that way, and because he always says to us, you know, as long as we put our best horse forward and we work hard and we try our best, more I can't ask. And that's a bit the message he always gives us. So we always try our best. And I mean, in sport, especially with horses, you never know. But we always start with the intent of putting our best foot forward.
Has it felt like a long time coming? I talk about being the most decorated, but there hasn't been a title since 2021-22. Has it felt like it's been waiting to happen, waiting to click?
Like, again, with horses, you never know. Horses getting injured, riders, horses swapping, but generally the team is always strong. There's always superstar jockeys and top horses, so there is that expectation that, of course, we expect to be on the podiums. Been a bit funny in and out the last few years, but this was always, I mean, like Jana said, we always hope to be on the podium, hope to be on the top, so that expectation is there.
So, before we let you go, tell me why, Jana. Why leaving Rabat going into Riyadh in the final stage? Why will the Can Stars be the champions of 2025?
I mean, I think we are the best team. And, sorry. Yeah, what can I say more? I mean, we did it last year, and I hope we do it again.
Over to you. Why will this year finally be the year that Falcons turn it around? What will be the difference in 2025 for Falcons United?
The difference, I don't know, like I said, the last few years there's always been those superstar riders, but I think the guys that are setting up for Riyadh, I mean, they've had an amazing season, and I think the horses are in a good shape. So totally trust in their abilities and trust they're going to get it over the line.
Well, the good news is that as far as the draw is concerned for GCL Round 1, both of these two championship contenders are very close to one another. So we'll get a first early look at both of them quite early on. Can Stars, powered by the Iron Dames, Jana Frederica Meyer-Zimmerman and the very impressive Natalie Dean come out 8th. And then shortly after the break, Falcons United, along with Marco Seining, Oliver Lazarus, will come out for Global Champions League Round 1 later. Enough from the championship contenders. Let's talk about Rabat. Let's talk about colour and culture and feeling and emotion. Where is Dan Strange this afternoon?
We're in the entertainment village, and this is something truly Moroccan for the second season of the GCL in a row in Rabat. Of course, last year was the first time the GCL came to the African continent. This is the only 5-star event of 2025 to take place in Africa, and this is a dance troupe from the Moroccan Sahara. Something truly Moroccan. This event is a legacy of the Qatar Morocco 2024 Year of Culture, and that legacy truly felt the buzz, the vibe, and as you can see here and hear here, the Moroccan pride. Around the village, there's also the best of Moroccan equestrian companies, stalls, food as well. It really is a truly Moroccan sensation here in the entertainment village. Rabat, of course, has a rich blend of history. Rabat, a modern city, another UNESCO World Heritage Site on the Global Champions League Tour. The City of Light, as it's known. And of course, it's in the shadows of the Hassan Tower, the famous red sandstone 12th century minaret, opened back in 1199. This is what the GCL is all about. This is what Rabat is all about. Culture, tradition, a deep history. Rome Gladiators won here in 2024. Who wins in 2025? We wait to see. But it's a unique stage of the GCL. Mark, back to you.
At the very start of the year, at the very first stage of the 2025 Global Champions League, we promised you a ticket to the world. We promised to take you on this journey from Doha all the way through to Riyadh in a couple of weeks' time. And at stages like this, it stops in Africa like this here in Rabat in Morocco that give you that front row seat to exactly that, the culture and the emotion and the color and the love and joy for show jumping. And that's where we find ourselves here for the 15th stage of the 2025 season. But before we dive too deep into Morocco. Before we dive too deep into Rabat, let's remind you what brought us to this point. As always, let's flash back. Let's go back to Cerco Massimo. Let's go back to stage 14 and reflect what happened in Rome.
Welcome to Rome for the latest stop on the Global Champions League. We're into the second round on a fabulous afternoon. Guido Grimaldi representing the Paris Panthers. So, as I say, big moment for the Paris Panthers. 2 more to go. We may get time. He's just trying to keep this horse going. Could be a terrific moment for him. We're going to get time faults, but not many. 2 time faults. But Basim Mohamed on Rocket Man. Paris Panthers in the lead. But, oh, 1 fence down. Can't afford to have another one. Steadying. Horse fly kicking. Last fence. Could it put them in the lead? This is a big fence for Doha Falcons. He jumps it. It does put them in the lead. For the Cannes Stars, powered by Iron Dames. Next up is Katrin Eckermann. If they have a fence down, match the time and better the time of the Doha Falcons. Time looking pretty good as well, 155.27, but if she's clear, it will be academic, and I think coming to the final fence, and she is clear. The Cannes Stars are the winner here in Rome.
Yeah, I'm extremely proud of all of us. Our horses were really fighting in the ring. We had a very good course. There were faults a little bit everywhere. But I think we really felt this time had a lot of girl power. I think we only competed with mares today, and they were really fighting in the ring.
Once again, Cannes Stars climb to the top of the mountain, and they once again collect maximum points on a GCL stage. And because of that, they have overturned a massive deficit that was in the overall ranking. Falcons Ride United, as we mentioned earlier to Oliver Lazarus, were looking comfortable with only 3 stages to go. Then the effects of Rome happened, and because of that, there has now been a major shift. We now find 2 teams in the championship level on 277 points. Cannes Stars, powered by the Iron Dames, Falcons Ride United, level on 277. And because of that, we are in for one heck of a showdown going into the final few stages here in Rabat, then in Riyadh in a couple of weeks' time. But don't for a second negate the influence or the threats of Shanghai Swans, Prague Lions and Razorback International. We'll talk about that in a few moments' time. And then you start to get into the GCL Super Cup quarter-final positions as the Istanbul Warriors falling short of their top 5 dream finish from FECI. The Mexico Amigos, Stockholm Hearts, they seem to have saved themselves from missing out of the GC Prague playoffs, but they will still be quite early to go in those quarterfinals. And we'll talk more about the Rome Gladiators, Paris Panthers, and arguably Monaco Comets and Doha Falcons. Do you include Scandinavian Vikings in there? Oh dear. We'll talk about that a little bit later on and find out how and why those 2 teams are now fighting, amongst others, in a different conversation. But let's bring Dan Strange into the studio. We want to talk about this remarkable position that we find ourselves in of 2 championship contenders, level on points on 277. Dan, with only 2 stages to go here in Rabat, then in Riyadh in a couple of weeks. This is a dream scenario for any scriptwriter. But how do we try and define who is in the better position here? Who, according to many factors, is arguably the favourites with just 2 stages to go?
One of my favourite things in sport is debate, an open, unlicensed, friendly.
Have at it.
Let's have a conversation. Let's not critique each other about having difference of opinion. My view on this one, obviously Falcons Ride United, Cannes Stars are the favourites as the top 2, 277 points each. For me, it's about momentum at this stage in the season. Now, I've got a feeling you might disagree with me, but making up 14 points in Rome gives Cannes Stars a big momentum swing. It's a huge momentum swing. Gilles Thomas has been superb for Falcons Ride United, and I'm not doubting the quality, the legacy of that team. We all know it. It's exceptional. Cannes Stars reigning champions. They were brave in Vienna, it didn't pay off, but Anastasia Nielsen's here this weekend. That dividend will pay in the future at some point for them. They've got Natalie Dean on red hot form. They've got momentum from Rome.
That winning mindset as a defending champion is a big deal as well, right?
And crucially, yeah, exactly. And I think crucially, the great thing with these two teams is they've both got a winning mindset. So it's going to be who gets over the line, because they're the two teams really who have had that winning mindset right from the word go of their organisations being set up, of their teams being set up. For me, though, the momentum's with Cannes Stars.
I'll tell you why. You're right in saying I have a feeling that Valkenswaard is maybe edging this race out, and I'll tell you why. You mentioned Gilles Thomas, not here in Rabat, but when you have the season that the latest and newest crowned Longines Global Champions Tour champion has had, I know he can't ever carry a team over the line single-handedly. That's the joy of a team sport like the Global Champions League. But you cannot discount the Gilles Thomas factor. You then, of course, on top of that, have the likes of Marcus Eining, who is here alongside Oliver Lazarus. We spoke to Oliver earlier on. The most decorated team in the Global Champions League history. If we talk numbers, if we talk stats, this season alone, you talk about momentum, you talk about decisions from the Cannes Stars, but the numbers tell you that Valkenswaard have had a better season. They have had more wins, they've been on the podium more times than Cannes Stars have, and they've led more stages than the Cannes Stars have. Those numbers, combined with the lineup, combined with the Gilles Thomas magic, combined with looking to become the first ever three-time champion in the Global Champions League, that for me is history. You know, Jose Mourinho talks about football heritage. That is show-jumping heritage. And I think that gives them that tiny X factor that with 2 stages to go might see them over the line. That's my thoughts on this.
But that's what it's all about as well. It's looking at these two teams, and if you're at home watching this, get behind one of them. You know, cheer them on. Choose who your fan favourite is. Gilles Thomas, your fan favourite. He might be, and he is a fabulous rider. For me, it's about the overall team. And the fact I think Cannes Stars won in Doha, it then took them 13 more stages to win again. But as we say, with only 2 stages left here and in Riyadh till it's decided.
But many other people, including those in the teams behind these two, will be saying to us, you just spoke about a 14-point overhaul in Rome alone.
Yep.
Surely, whilst we look at these two teams as the favourites, there will be 3 teams behind these two that'll be yelling from the rooftops that they cannot be discounted. Remind us who is still in this conversation, who is still in contention here?
Shanghai Swans, they were the team early stages, weren't they? One at home.
They were the red-hot championship favourite for everyone.
2 wins in a row and a second in 3 stages. Everyone went, I think they're going to run away with this. And then the form just blipped a little. But they're in 3rd at the moment. Then come Prague Lions, still in the hunt with championship winning form until that minor hurdle they tripped on in Rome. It didn't quite go right for them. It wasn't a terrible weekend though either. And then 5th at the moment, 3 podiums from 4. For Riesenbeck International. Don't forget Prague Lions, since Valkenswaard have won twice, 60 points between Valkenswaard and Vienna. They like the V's.
And Riesenbeck love a late charge. You just have to historically go through GCL seasons to tell yourself that Riesenbeck love a late charge. They love a late points haul. They are good when it matters. They normally finish really strong. They have Christian Kuckuck, they have Philipp Weishaupt, they have Marco Kutscher here. There is still a Riyadh stage to come. I wonder if out of those 3 teams, does Riesenbeck edge it out, potentially, despite being slightly further behind? Are they...
Are you asking me?
I'd love to know. Are they the one of the 3 that, if any of them have the potential to knock down Valkenswaard and Cannes, is it Riesenbeck or does it go somewhere else?
For me, it's Prague Lions. But again, on the fact that they've won 2 stages, Riesenbeck, no, they haven't won any stages. And at this stage in the season, if any of those 3 are going to win with the outside chance. For me, I can't see it happening, but if they are, and there is a chance they could, you've got to be in the habit of taking 30 points from the next 2 stages. Prague have done it later on in the season. Shanghai did it earlier in the season. Riesenbeck haven't done it at all this season in terms of winning stages.
You need to get into the ring to continue working. We need to hear from the riders. We've spoken about the dominance of Valkenswaard United and Cannes Stars. We've spoken about the likelihood that this championship may still well be decided by the top 5 teams. Let's then hear from the Shanghai Swans, the Prague Lions and Riesenbeck International as they look to try and climb the mountain.
I think the more realistic achievement and also what we are aiming is to be under the first 4 for Prague. That's our goal. But for this, we have to really perform in a perfect way the next two Global Tour League.
A lot of up and downs in the whole season. That's nothing new. Every day is a new day or new week.
I think we have to be very realistic. It's going to be very difficult, and it's our goal is really to stay in that top 3. That's really the goal that we have set for us.
We have 2 more chances to make sure we stay in the top 4.
The strategy is to perform as good as we can. At least we need a win, if possible too. But at least to be on the podium, that would be really good. Tomorrow, Philip and me are starting in the team. Christian is here as well, but only with 1 horse. So he will jump in the second round, but we will see after the first round how we go on with the team.
I think we have all very realistic, good horsemen and riders. I think that's very important. We know how to manage, I think, the horses, all of us. And that's also why we know a little bit which horse can and which rider-horse combination can suit where. And then I think the spirit under us is very well. We are always, let's say, almost always on the same line. I think that's very important, that there is already no discussion between us. We are always on the same line, and that's what makes us, I think, a very strong team together.
The plan for Rabat is like me with the 2 horses. Here's Dokan and Dagan Nix. We have Katarina here and Max also here. So strong team, motivated team. So we are ready to go.
It's a nice team. I really appreciate that Ludger asked me to be one of the members. But so far the luck wasn't on our side, but has nothing to do with the team members, I think.
Maybe difficulty here is that we're going to ride a completely new horse in the first round, Niels and me, a horse that never jumped the Global Champions Tour. So it's a bit of a risk, but okay, it's like that, the season goes on, and we don't want to, there is next year again a season.
But the main thing is for sure to secure the top 4, to start in the semi-final. That should be possible, then that we are here for.
You cannot write the Shanghai Swans, Prague Lions and Rabat International off. The points are still there. They are still up for grabs, and quickly as they come, quickly as they go. If things do not go right for the Cunt Stars or Falcons Watch United today, there will be a perfect, easy opportunity for those 3 teams to cash in. And if that is the case, and they close the gap even more so as we get ready for Riyadh, well, then let me tell you what's going to happen in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the GC final of 2025 is going to be something for the record books. Now, that is the championship conversation as we talk about what's happening at the top of the GCL standings. But there is so much more that is happening towards the bottom half, arguably as fierce as now this fight for qualification, trying to get into the GC playoffs at the end of the year. That is the big goal. For those teams that are sitting near the bottom, every single point can affect whether they do or do not compete in the GCL Super Cup. This is exactly what is needed to stay alive in the League of the Last.
At this stage of the Global Champions League, strategy is everything. For the 5 teams that are locked within their own mini battle, the League of the Last, they're the ones trying to make it into the GC playoffs in Prague and not be the one team watching from their sofas at home. At this stage of the season, every decision counts. Just think back to Rome, think back to the emotion and give us how it really felt, what it really meant to you as a team.
They were really strong in Rome, and they give motivation to be good here. That's Willem and me. We make a short meeting today to make the plan for the weekend. That's we expect also to be good like they were last weekend.
We were very concentrated since the morning, and we knew that we could do a good round, 2 good rounds. But of course, to have a double clear with gentlemen was something amazing.
I don't think the performance from Rome does make so much pressure on us. When we look 5-6 shows back, we were at the bottom. We are now a little bit better.
What's been the discussion between the team this week?
To go clear and fast.
I think what was missing a bit for us was the horsepower.
We had some bad luck. A rider with a broken leg, other category horses not fit to compete, and I think now at the moment we're getting stronger and stronger.
we have never give up, you know, and this make the difference, I mean, in our team.
What's the horsepower plan for here in Rabat to try and get another podium?
We have the same horses from New York, me and Willem. That's I think we will make it the same program, but that we start with one horse and another one for the second round.
I have here a Tezel that is Common Z. It's ours that is gonna really step up this weekend. I hope I will jump the 155 or at least the 150 Grand Prix. It's the goal.
I think that will be difficult here. I only have Kiliman Sitter, so I have to concentrate totally on one horse. That can be very positive. McAllister is in a really good shape, but okay, he's only 8 years old. Did 2 great shows in Vienna, and then directly this show. I think it's a little bit too much for my 8-year-old also.
Celine, she's with her best horse, which is Clinto. Whilst I'm not, I'm with Chanel. Chanel is a very good horse, but he needs, you know, to be very calm at the end because he gets a little bit very hot. And if I'm hot and he's hot, it's going to be the big disaster. So I have to be very calm till the end.
Just explain the importance to the team of making the GC playoffs in Prague.
No, we have to do it. We will do everything to be there. It's the #1 priority. It's why we're here and what we work for. So yeah, no, this weekend we're gonna score some points hopefully and we go to Prague.
Pressure on the teams towards the bottom part of the table that are desperately trying to secure their place in the GC Prague playoffs later on this year. It is, without a shadow of a doubt, the biggest show in the world of show jumping, and that takes place once again in Prague later on this year. Every single one of these teams that are competing throughout the entire season of the Global Champions League want to be there. They need to be there. And for those teams that are now struggling and fighting for points, it is going to be crucial that here in Rabat and in the next stage, the final in Riyadh, that they take maximum points to ensure their place in the biggest show in town. Now, let's get some thoughts, let's get some reaction as to what has been built here today. Uliano Vizzani, once again, course designer, Italian maestro. I saw him walking around here earlier on. He is the man that has set up today's Global Champions League course. We managed to catch up with Emily Conte from the Mexico Amigos, powered by the H5 stables. Let's get some thoughts from Emily Conte.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, we're in the arena with Emily Conte of the Mexico Amigos. Now, Emily, we've just been talking about the line from 7 to 8 and then into the combination at 9. We're going to walk to 9 now, but first of all, what do you think of 7 and 8?
7 and 8 for me will be an out in 8 because my horse drifts a bit to the left, so I really have to stay out here. And this, I think, is the most tricky part of the course. It's the triple. It's coming very short out of the turn. So yeah, you gotta organize early enough to make sure you got enough space and rhythm going in there.
And on this back line, of course, you've got the triple combination. As you see here, we're only just getting to the turn here. And then there's a lot of power and balance needed.
Yes, exactly. And my horse, as I said already, he jumps a bit to the left. So I have to make sure I don't let him fall into the inside and really get a good rhythm going in with space so I can do the work for him in the triple.
It seems, bar this turn into the combination, as you said, like a nice, spacious, open arena. Does that suit your horse?
Yes, it suits my horse as well. I mean, it's his first time in the team, so we'll do our best. But I think it's nice and he's nice and compact, so he suits well in this arena.
Confidence high with having walked the course for Mexico Amigos?
Yes, I think so. I'm staying confident, positive forward, so yes.
Emily, thanks so much for your time. Mark, back over to you.
It may look nice and open. It may even walk nice and open. But you know that when Uliano Vizzani is designing these courses, that is where he wants to take you. He wants to give you that illusion that it is quite straightforward. And then all of a sudden there is a question of, is this an inside 4 or an outside 5? How do you challenge this combination? Where do you try and be better than the rest? That is the magic that we look forward to in the upcoming round 1 of Global Champions League, live from Rabat. This is stage 15, the penultimate stage of the 2025 season. We are so close towards the end of the season. We are in that final straight. Let's show you what the teams will look like coming out today. We remind you, Global Champions League round 1. It is generated by a computer, round 1. This is how the teams will come out today. Under the beautiful Hassan Tower here in the background, Istanbul Warriors, powered by the Carpe Diem equestrian team have drawn first. They'll be followed by New York Empire, powered by Lugano Diamonds. Rome Gladiators under some pressure, powered by Cavalleria Toscana, third to go. Then the first real big fish of the Shanghai Swans to follow shortly after that. Then the Cannes Stars before the break as well. Prague Lions in the mix too. In the second half, Falconsward United, Razorback International. It is going to be a fascinating start to Global Champions League Round 1 live from Rabat. And the action is all starting next.
Very warm welcome, everybody. Delighted to be welcome to Rabat. Welcome to Morocco. Delighted to be with you here for the Longines Global Champions Tour and Global Champions League. As you can see, it is leg 15 out of 16 this season, and so good to be back here in this amazing part of the world, of course, here on the Atlantic coast in the north of Africa, and a wonderful place where the great history meets heritage. The weather conditions absolutely perfect, really, for today. We could not ask for better weather. There's even a slight breeze in the air. As you can see, the palms are moving a little out there today, which is keeping things a little bit cooler, a little bit better for everybody involved. And the riders certainly happy to once again return to this fabulous venue. Plenty to look forward to. We're going to kick things off, of course, the individuals getting underway before we turn our attention to what is going to be an absolutely crucial leg of the Global Champions League. It is too close to talk about at the moment. We'll come back to that with the top two teams absolutely level pegging at the top of the order. But before that, of course, this track open to the individuals. We've got this amazing competition, and there's certainly some interest out there as well. Well, the riders this year, it's been an amazing tour, but of course has seen us crisscross the globe, and won't be long before we get to that final leg in a couple of weeks in Riyadh. But Rabat, round 15 out of 16, fresh off the back of our trip to Rome just a week ago, and now with that new champion crowned on the Longines Global Champions Tour in the form of Gilles Thomas. What a great achievement it's been for the young man from Belgium this year, and our hearty congratulations, of course, goes to him. He is actually one of the riders not with us this week, but take nothing away from the lineup of stars that have come forward here this week, because it really is a stellar field. In fact, 18 of the riders involved this week have all previously won a Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix. They're all going to be taking on that man's courses over the next 3 days. Emiliano Pizzali, the Italian maestro, who always seems to bring out the very best of competition on the Longines Global Champions Tour and Global Champions League. And this one should be much of the same. The opening track for the 5-star riders is this 1 meter 55 Bolton time, straight against the clock. We start with the 11 individual riders tackling these 15 jumping efforts. There's Jans of that Global Champions League. These 2 rounds, once we get into the league stages, will of course feature towards the points table, which, as I said now, getting very tight at the top. It couldn't be any closer because we've got a dead level score, but of course there is as well that battle to get in to the top 4. Let's have a little look at the individual start list, kicking things off with the Spanish star Manuel Fernandez Saro. There's some strong combinations. Morocco represented 3 different riders, with Ali Alarak the first of those, and then as you build through the individual ranks, starting with Ollie Fletcher is when it flips into the teams after Edwina. Of course, some of the teams out there brought back up riders. They can look to see how they adjust things going through. Christian Ullman with us, still one of the riders this week. Come Sunday, I'll be looking to try and find a golden ticket. Of course, Malin Johnson, another winner on the tour in the past, but as of yet, we've had a Grand Prix win this year. But then you've got the likes of the winner from just recently, and Philipp Weishout. Of course, he's been in great form just of late, and plenty of others there as well. Philip's win in Vienna, and then down to the bottom of the line, you've got the likes of Lely Militao, of course, took that fabulous win in Madrid earlier this year. So exciting times ahead. The Grand Prix is what they'll, of course, be building towards on Sunday when all the individual honours come to fruition. But it is, of course, the teams that we'll turn our attention to. There is the Mohammed, the sixth tower. It stands just overlooking the venue here, 250 metres tall. It's in fact the tallest building in Africa. And that futuristic building you can see in the background, that is the Grand Theatre. It's a tremendous district, a lot of construction still going on, but this is an area really modernising and pushing forward this fabulous part of Rabat. We're here on the Borgan River in the north of the city. So let's kick things off and see how this course begins to ride. And delighted to see this man here. Of course, he might come into team play later. We'll find out what Madrid decide to do. But with Valensky, Manuel Fernandez Saro going as an individual to start things off with a 10-year-old stallion by Vivant. And, well, we saw him last on the tour in Jersey City in New York, New Jersey. Tremendous new addition there with Eslis de Mensil. This horse actually hasn't jumped since Paris on the Longines Global Champions Tour, although more recently competing with this ride in the Sires of the World competition. Is a tremendous stallion, as I say, by Vivant, out of a Cornet Blensky mare. And we're off and running. Double coming quite early in the course. And then round to this culture fence. Seven strides down to the plank, and then again a big, wide, open turn. But he's already on the 8 penalties. It's quite a narrow little fence. In fact, it's not that wide either. But it brings you into the combination. 1 stride parallel, 2 strides upright. Big wide stretch over those 5 strides down to the end. Comes inside, back to the triple bar. Time allowed at 74 seconds. I think it will be just about okay on that. 71.94, first to go. Manuel Fernandez Saro there and Valensky. Of course, getting things underway in terms of the individual competition. And starting on a score of 8 penalties, 71.94 for the first out then. Of course, riding for Spain, going back to have another little look. Well, moving our attention to the first of the local partnerships, of course, riding then for Morocco. I'm sure we'll be delighted to be here as well. In front of this crowd, the 12-year-old stallion he's riding gets Ali Al-Darak in the saddle with Ike 1348 by Zaval VDL. Just recently on the Nations Cup team. Of course, there's been a strong tour of shows taking place in Morocco in recent weeks. Rode on the Nations Cup with this horse here in Rabat a few weeks back. They're already on the 4, sadly going to have a little think about that. Second time lucky. Has he retired? He has indeed retired, so not working to plan today, but at least got a positive jump in before he finished. But that was Ali Alarak riding with Ike 1348. Well, shall we reset and look to go again? Start with a partnership here for the Dominican Republic. 28-year-old Maria Gabriela Burgal-Gasso riding J'adore Flamenco, by the wonderful J'aime Flamenco. 13-year-old gelding, but out of a Corofino mare.
They're watching on the Kiss and Cry Maria
Been a horse that's been ridden on a few championship teams at Pan Am Games. Maria, of course, who's played a role within the Rome Gladiators over the course of this season. Had a busy run over the back end of the summer with London, Valkenswaard and Riesenbeck appearances. Really pushing up on those 7 strides now, coming back round fence 6, that beautiful wall. And then setting up for the combination on the 4, on the 8 now. .71.57 is the time on the clock. It's just a fraction faster than we saw Manuel go a little earlier. Both have finished on a score of 8, and as of yet, we're still waiting for that opening clear in this opening 5-star competition here in Rabat for the Longines Global Champions Tour. Fascinating course in a lot of respects, big, quite wide open, long stretches between a lot of the fences. Ileana giving them plenty of room to think between jumps. Well, we look to Sweden. Another rider that might get called into team action for the Mexico Amigos later, potentially. Petronella Anderson, Odina van Klapjut is the name of the horse, because this very experienced mare by Zazu is next up. Setting off with quite a degree of intent as well. Jumping well at the moment. First time we've seen her on the tour since London. But on the 4, hoping to keep it there. Looks a lot quicker than we've seen from those opening few rounds as well. Certainly is. 63.69, just the one fence though goes down for Petronella Anderson and Adina, who finish on a score. Shows us what's achievable in terms of the clock. I'm going to be in those low 60 seconds to be setting a good round. But what we do need is a clear round, and That first part of the combination proving a little bit tricky just to judge how you want to get in. Next two to go, both ride for Morocco. Important few days for the local riders. Vincent Burgoyne is next up, Pepe van Oortjook. Vincent, who's got a lot of experience though jumping across Europe. Very much been back though on home soil in recent weeks with that series of shows that have taken place here, although, as I say, is potentially mostly based in Europe, jumped at a few of the big shows over the winter as well last year. And certainly with this horse, jumped at a few five-star shows now. Certainly a horse that's stepped up more this year and has got a huge jump. Watching it go through the double. Pepper by Dewey Merci van TNL out of a Kashmir van Chuterhof mare. Certainly getting nowhere near the poles, jumping them for fun. Just looks to lose a little bit of time in the air, and of course he's keeping this quite steady. Coming back into the final line. He's in on the clock as well. There's the opening clear, and it goes to the Moroccan rider. Vincent Burgoyne and Pepe van Oortjook. 73.31. We'll see certainly quicker rounds, but that is the first clear round. Full credit to them. To be fair to that gelding, it never really looked like touching a pole. It's got such a leap.
73.31. There is the first clear.
Look at that. I mean, tremendous height over the jumps, and it means the world to him. It's just been a little bit steady, but he's judged it right. He's got inside the time. So Vincent Burgoyne there and Pepe van Oortjook giving us the opening clear round. Well, we stay with Morocco, and Galia Buka goes next, riding the 12-year-old stallion called Chester N. The partnership that was recently on the home team, the Nations Cup. Spent a lot of time with this horse in Europe, beginning of the year. After a little bit of international time off. Obviously coming back strong recently in Rabat and Al Jadida, all those four-star events. Certainly got a lot more pace in the rhythm that he's riding this round than what we saw from Vincent. How does he cope with getting into the combination though? Nicely. Pan was in the middle, but just a little flat on the way out. Of course, he's that much quicker, 66.99, but unfortunately with one down coming out of the combination cost him that score of the 4, and El Ghali Bouka. Chance there for Morocco with just N. So finishing on a score of 4. So at the moment goes into 3rd place. Of course, you got that very quick fall from Petronella Anderson. 10 seconds faster than the leader, but of course, with just one clear, still leading is Vincent Bourgoin. Next to go, it is Monegasque rider Anastasia Nielsen. Also rides for McCann Stars, who are going to have a big week. Of course, she may well be needed come that next round, the 2nd round. We'll see how it works out. Of course, McCann Stars battling at the top. Even Stevens at the moment with Volkenswaard. It's going to be a huge day in the Global Champions League, I can promise you. But this is Dark Chocolate 48, who she is riding. This beautiful 11-year-old stallion by Casal, originally produced by Dennis Lynch. These two been building their partnership together really well. Had a very good show at home in Monaco back in July. It's been a season that started with this horse for them back in Shanghai. Starting to see a little bit of a spread of different jumps going down. And again, she's taking quite a steady approach to the way she's riding this course. And 70.07, again faster than the leader, but that's seemingly becoming quite a common occurrence. It's just they've all had fences down. Still just one clear round, but Anastasia Nielsen getting her day underway. Big Dark Chocolate 48. Beautiful stallion by Casal, 11 years of age. Just a little bit of a rub going over the top of the Global Champions League plank there at fence 5, sadly, costing them a score of 4. Attention now to a partnership riding for Brazil, Luis Felipe de Azevedo. This was the Paris Panthers team back in the early part of the year. Here with the Pandora Boy, who we saw jumping in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix in Paris back in June. They've been busy though over the rest of this summer and into the autumn, jumping at quite a few big 4- and 5-star shows, including a trip out to Canada. Most recently though, they've also been based out here in Morocco for the tour of competitions that have been taking place through September and October. Picking up that early fence going down, unfortunately. It's a lovely big arena, this one. Lots of space. She got a total of 12 though, 70.48 on the clock for the Brazilian with Pandora Boy. So, Luis Felipe Benito de Azevedo finishing on a score of 12.70.48. 3 more individuals to go before we take a pause and get ready for the teams. The Global Champions League getting underway in around about 20 minutes or so. First horse and rider combination due at 1 o'clock here local time. One from France, one from Turkey, and one from Australia left in the individual end of this draw. And Anthony Herman is the rider for France, of course, may well be called in as the team rider for Shanghai Swans later, we'll see, but he's the 25-year-old young French star. A lovely horse here in the form of Odin van Hagenor, the 11-year-old by Kigobi. Had a very good win with this horse back in the summer on the Longines Global Champions Tour, jumping in Monaco, in Monte Carlo, Port Hercule back in July. It's played quite a key role as well for France in recent weeks. Immediately just making sure he's got a nice forward rhythm to this round. I think it's a very jumpable course. It's just also very easy to have a pole down. Doing a fabulous job at the moment. Lovely balance through. Saw the stride a long way off, was able to move up, asked the horse just to go forward, and really responsive. Great understanding so far between the two of them, and at the moment he's coming in clear, and he's certainly coming in quick. Where's he going to end this round? 63-61, sets it up beautifully in terms of an individual standpoint. Anthony Erdemann, Odin Vanuduva, 63-61, and clear to lead the way. Faster than Petrina's fast round on a score of 4, so 2 clears.
An excellent time, 63-61.
Remind you, as I'm sure you perhaps already know, that as we turn our attention into the Global Champions League, of course our focus becomes the team scores, but of course all those riders all individually looking to be placed within a €60,000 class. And that, from an individual standpoint, is the best standard so far. Next up, Takia and Hassan Sentuk, no comment. Interceptant by Jensen Van Milinov. This stand-in is 12 years of age. Out of a Coller Ruben mare. Jumped as part of the Istanbul team recently in Vienna and in Lisenbeck. Ride of Nadia Peter-Steiner. He took over, only being sort of June, July time. Turning back into the final line at a score of 4. Finished in the round on a score of 4 as well, 70.94. Is the final time. That was Hassan Sentaruk. Lovely addition to his team, though. No comment Decepton in the second half of this year. So those 2 clear rounds as it stands, and Antti Öhman holding top spot. We'll look in a moment, though, to the last of the individual riders before we swing into the teams. And let's get over to Thomas Alexander, one of the most successful riders on the Longines Global Champions Tour. Of course, a two-time Tour winner as well. Slow is quite a new horse for her in terms of the team. Of course, formerly with Catherine Eckermann, this is Irondale's Gidello. 11-year-old gelding by Cascadello. It's had a tremendous record at the top level already. It's the first 5-star show for these two together. They did jump a few weeks back in one of the 3 stars in Belgium. That was their first international outing. Last time we saw Catherine riding this horse would have been London. Doing a tremendous job at the moment. Gidello looking pretty strong. Certainly having to sit and hold, but she's jumped a brilliant round. She's just picked up a couple of time penalties. I'm not quite sure she'll be too worried about that. Jan looking on as well, always hard to read Jan, but Edwina just getting going with that particular horse, Irondale's Gidello, and I think that's a tremendous start at this level. As I say, she is always using all of the space available to her, but ultimately left the fences standing. So she's gone round for a score of 2. Best of the rest after the 2 clears, at least, as it stands. Of course, there are 2 clears, and there is 1 leader. Anthony Edelman holds the top spot, so it's the best of the individual times in a round of 63-61 with Odin van Haluva. That is, in terms of the individual sort of standpoint, what they're going to need to be aiming for. And then you've got Vincent Burgoyne and Pepper van Attertje, the other Moroccan rider with the clear round as well. So that is how it stands individually at the moment. Of course, individual honours will continue to progress, but ultimately the focus is going to turn here to the Global Champions League here in Rabat in Morocco, because we're getting set for round 15 out of 16. It is the penultimate stop of the season, and what a wonderful place to be here in North Africa for the excitement that comes next in the form of the Global Champions League. We're going to bring you all of that, every stride, across both rounds, live here throughout the course of the afternoon. I hope you can stay with us, or make sure you're with us all the way through. And we'll get that underway very soon, live here this afternoon. Welcome one and all to the Global Champions League of 2025, and of course the penultimate stop of this season's quite brilliant journey. Welcome to Morocco, to Rabat. We are on the banks of the Bogana River here in North Africa, of course on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. It is where history and culture certainly come to the fore, but there is also the fabulous side of the modern architecture as we sit under the Mohammed VI Tower, one of the tallest buildings in the whole of Africa. We're surrounded by the most beautiful, beautiful countryside, and of course the weather is on our side, as you perhaps would have expected as well. There in the background is that 250-metre tall, tallest tower in Africa, 55-storey building. Welcome to Rabat. Last year's winner on the Global Champions League. This is our second year here, of course, were the Rome Gladiators. Can they at least perhaps find a podium maybe this year? Because, of course, they're the only team so far this season not to have featured on one of the podiums. There is the Grand Theatre. There's a lot of modern architecture, and there is the standings here. Could it be any closer? Only if you couldn't find your way to having a draw. They're split at the top because Valkenswaard have one more win than Cannes, but look how tight it is. Of course, we're battling for the top four to go to the playoffs. Valkenswaard on top at the moment, but the Cannes Stars are pushing them hard. Shanghai and Prague, of course, up there as well, but Risenbeck are looking to use this opportunity to try and find a way back into the top four. And there is all sorts of battles and all sorts of permutations as you look down the order. And of course, as I said, this year 16 out of those 17 teams involved have at some point finished on the podium. Let's have a little look at the first journey towards that podium here today, because this is the opening track set by Ileana Pizzani, our course designer. One round of jumping, faults and time, carrying towards the team score. 12 obstacles at a height of 1.55 metre, which counts as 15 different jumping efforts. And once they get going, swinging round to the left from the Longines fence, back on themselves towards the first of the parallels, that Otsa at fence number 2. 6 strides coming down to this combination. It is the parallel in, the upright out, for the single stride in the middle. 1.50 metre, absolutely square. Jumping in, one stride, 8.1 metres, and then jumping out over 1.50 metre as well. It's going to be a key turn as they push up, because of course time will play a factor as well. They'll need to ensure they're pushing on as they come round to the years of culture fence, 1.50 metre square. 7 strides, big one, long open line in front of the hospitality to the GCL fence, and that is a plank on top, standing at 1.50 metre as well. So very much one they need to be delicate. Then the power of the wall, that'll back them off as they then head on the 4 strides down to the next fence, again standing at 1.50 metre square. Coming on a curved line to what is quite a narrow fence, quite a skinny little fence. The Longines, it's only 1.10 metre wide, certainly got height, but as I say, it's quite narrow in its kit as well. 8 strides around the corner. Combination, really interesting. They've got to be very careful coming in off that corner. That first upright at 1.50 metre. Single stride in the middle to the parallel again, 1.50 metre square. And then it's 2 strides on the way out. It's 11 metres 50 and a maximum upright 1.55 metre. That line continues all the way down this fabulous arena. Big arena we're in, 5 strides as they come to fence number 10. You'll notice it's not just 150 high, but it's about the width as well. They need the power, and if they're too far off that, they're going to make the back rail awfully difficult. Again, a very tight turn to try to beat the clock, and you've got to be careful of that back rail, because the triple bar standing at 1.70 metre wide and 1.55 high, and the final fence is right up there at the maximum height. The teapot standing again at full height at 1.55. Ileana really using this arena up and down, giving them plenty of room at points between the fences, which allows them, I guess, to make their own mistakes. It's a thumbs up from me. He's got his thumbs up. He's almost, well, he's always happy. He's always smiling, is Ileana. What a competition we've got coming your way, and it is all to play for. We're just 2 rounds left of the Global Champions League. Let's have a little look at the opening draw. The Istanbul Warriors with Ollie Fletcher and Simon Deleste, of course, 2-time winners this year in Paris, and in Riesenbeck sitting 8th in the standings. Dennis Lynch and Scott Brash here for the New York Empire, powered by Lugano Diamonds. They've only had the 1 podium this year. Then you have the team for the Rome Gladiators. Last year's winner, powered by Cavalier Toscana. Can they change things around with Pedder and Emanuele Gariano? The Shanghai Swans sitting 3rd in the standings. 3 wins this season. Katarina Romberg and Christian Ullmann. Jack Whitaker for Madrid in Motion. And Eduardo Alvarez as well. They haven't yet won this year, but they've been on the podium a few times. The Prague Lions, powered by the Czech equestrian team, trying to consolidate 4th place with Niels Brunsels and Peter de Vos. The Stockholm Hearts with Caroline Renov-Pedersen and Malambar Johnson. H&M We Love Horses pushing on. Can Stars, powered by Ian Dames, of course. They tied at the top on points. It's only on countback, but they got Yana and Natalie Dean. The Mexico Amigos, powered by H5 Stables, follow them. Then it's the Paris Panthers trying to find their way off the bottom of the table as Volkenswaard United follow them. Of course, they, the other team, battling at the top. They, though, lead by virtue of their 3 wins, and they've got Oliver Lazarus and Marcus heading in the opening round. Riesenbeck of the team trying to find their way into the top 4, powered by Horse Gym, Riesenbeck International with Marco Kutscher and Philip Weishout. The Basel Cosmopolitans, Andres Skew, Geraldine Strulman. Then it's the Saint-Tropez Pirates, who at the moment have had that 1 win this year in Cannes, Philippe Rosière and Thibaut Philipparts. The Scandinavian Vikings, Sara Vindeglöver and Jörg Vreeling coming in to maybe try for their 2nd podium of the season. Monaco Comets, powered by Dames, Edith Yoli and Madrid winner Loli Milanateo, looking to try there. And the final team out will be the Doha Falcons, who, of course, were 2nd last time out in Rome. Vilm Vermeer, Jerome Gary selected in the opening round. So lots to look at, lots to think about. At the end of the day, there's nothing that separates the top 2 on points. There's a big gap, of course, we know, from Cannes back to Shanghai. And then, 5 points back to Prague Lives, Riesenbeck at 23. It is going to be interesting today when we get to those moments to see whether Riesenbeck International can force their way, can get maybe a little bit of an advantage on the Prague Lions or perhaps even the Shanghai Swans. They need to score big today, Riesenbeck International, if they're going to try over the Rabat and Riyadh rounds to break into the top 4 to go through and miss out one of those rounds when we go to the playoffs. But we're going to start things off with this team. Of course, the battle at the top will become key. 277 apiece between Volkenswaard United and, of course, the Cannes Stars. But it's going to be Istanbul Warriors, powered by Carpe Diem equestrian team that kicked things off. A team that at the moment sit 8th in the standings, of course, had the brilliant wins this year that have come the way of the team in Paris and more recently in Riesenbeck, looking perhaps now to try and find their way to win number 3 of the year. They used the young British star, of course, a young rider, European champion last year, Ollie Fletcher, with his father Graham's and Alison Walton's BP Pocahontas, this 11-year-old gelding by $1 million. First out then in the Global Champions League, round 1 in Rabat. Now back to the wall. Combination jump very well out in New Jersey. Jersey City leg, of course, back in September. He's keeping it clear at the moment. He's doing a brilliant job for the team. He's coming into the final line. Time allowed to remind you is 74, so there was no issues. It's fast, it's clear, and it's a really good start for the Istanbul Warriors team. As Ollie Fletcher not only putting together a clear round on BP Pocahontas, but putting together what, it's not the quickest clear that we'll see, But when it comes to teams, and you've got to balance the equation between jumping and leaving the fences standing and setting a decent time, I think as the opening rider, the team are over the moon with the way that has started. And Hassan Sentoku was stood up on the podium there watching on, looking pretty happy with things. Next to go, second team rider. It's the turn of Simon Deleste. Another strong season for the Frenchman, and Gatsby to Tillard, the 9-year-old. You can see from the graphics you have both the team and rider results running. This 9-year-old stallion by President. Been one of those horses that is still quite new to his team, but looks to have a lot of potential. Well, he's still watching on. Simon in a nice forward rhythm to this round. He's a naturally forward rider anyway. You can see what I mean about that Longines fence. Just not only being narrow in terms of its width, but being narrow in terms of its spread as well. Well, what a start this is turning into for Istanbul. Oh, speak too soon. Oh, the curse of the commentator kicked in early there, didn't it? 130.85. He was just coming back a little bit on the angle. He was trying to keep the time down, 63.73, but sadly picks up a score of 4. What impact that ends up having, we'll find out as this class unfolds a little more. It's been quite some season. I mean, they're 8th in the standings, the Istanbul Warriors, but those 2 wins this year certainly showing how the team has progressed. It's coming across it on the angle. It's not a narrow fence being a triple bar. It's 1.70 meters wide. And there's the score, 130.85, but a score of 4.
It's a good start for the team. Istanbul Warriors, first team in the mix, powered by the Carpe Diem equestrian team. A clear for Oliver Fletcher, 4 for Simon Delestre, and that'll be pretty good for them going into the second round. New York Empire, powered by Lugano Diamonds, next in the ring. If you want to join us here in Rabat for stage 15 of the Global Champions League, sign up for that GCTV Live Pass and come join us here for stage 15.